show.
I flip on the book of face. Yeah, I know where to go. There's a man over there into the music scene. Showing lots of love
Popping in there when I
for the community. With great
see that tonight.
I know who I should go see.
Hometown radio show.
She is not well, people. She's not. Hey, everybody. Welcome on a nooner here to All Around Town Radio, special edition Wednesday with the band. Got a little fun to have with you today. We've got a special guest, actually several special guests in here and some familiar faces as well. And before we go too far, let me get a little quick introduction going here. Ladies and gentlemen, bringing to the show today, we have Casey James. He rose to national attention, became a household name pretty much overnight as he appeared on season 9 of American Idol. He's got a huge instrumental background and a unbelievably superior vocal talent, and that with Mr. Casey James. And we'd like to welcome you to the show today, Casey, if I can get you up here on the screen. How you doing there?
I'm good, man. Superior to what? That's what I want to know.
Well, they say it's superior. That's what I hear. You know, I've not heard you other than videos, but you know.
I don't know who wrote that, but I didn't. I can tell you that much.
All right. Well, we'll see how that goes and see what the fans think of you when you play this weekend or this week in Cincinnati. Casey, you are in a car. I got to give you props, man, for even doing this today. You and the family are at what zoo?
Nashville Zoo.
The Nashville Zoo today. So he's taking time out of his day with the family to join us here for this afternoon and to help promote the show that's coming up that you guys are, it's a must see next Tuesday. And we'll get into that really heavy, but this is not a normal thing on a Tuesday night, obviously at the Bell and the Bear, and bringing in a national act like Casey and all the fun that's going to be there. We're going to get heavy into that. David Parks down here in the bottom corner joining me too. He's a good friend of the family here. We've had him on the show before. And you may know David Parks by being that superior drummer behind the kid at the Bell and the Bear Jam occasionally when he's in town.
Drummer, Neil Peart behind me.
You always got to throw that in. Cool. David's always got to throw that in, man. I love that on the wall behind you. And I'm joined by my co-host with the most here on our weekdays on Tuesdays. Karis is in the house. How you doing, Karis? You're gonna have a tight schedule next Tuesday, doing this show at and all that going on, and doing the live show with me at 5. We're gonna be busy.
Yep, just realized that.
Yeah, isn't that great? I did too. Yeah. I just thought about that too.
Wheels are turning. Just realized.
There we go. Yeah. I can think of some things there. Casey, let's talk for a minute. People know you. They know your face. They know. I mean, you did become an overnight sensation. Let's talk about that real quick. I know you want to dwell on other things today, but American Idol, man, it thrusts people into fame and gets them all kinds of looks. And from people, how did that go with you? You kind of hit the ground running with that.
Man, it was wild. It's been 14 years. I still don't have a real good answer for that question. Yeah, I mean, you kind of say it in the intro. It's like, you know, you're doing something for, at that point, I had been playing music for about 10 years in a live setting. And you're doing the same thing, but then all of a sudden it matters. And people are paying attention and listening. And so, you know, everything changed. And I mean, it changed for forever. You know, it never goes back. And I'm thankful for it. And it was a wild ride. And, you know,
did it blow you away when they picked you? I mean, when they selected you, were you, I mean, out of all those people, because those auditions are huge, that you got selected, I mean, did that just kind of make you step back and think?
I wasn't expecting it at all. I really wasn't, because I just did an interview the other night. I was talking about this, and it's like that show to me is very much about like the big, you know, like we're going to finger shoot and, you know, like hold big notes out kind of people that really like real true vocalists, you know, and I've never really considered myself that. More of a guitar player that can sing. And So I just wasn't expecting to get very far, to be really honest with you. I was just doing it because why not? It was an opportunity.
Well, and obviously it was a good one for you. You made it into the top 3, I think, that year, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. It was the only thing that I mean, I guess it's just a combination of everything, it's not one thing that they're looking for. And I think that probably was a reason I got as far as I did. I don't know, but I'm thankful for it. And, like I said, looking back, I mean, it certainly opened up the doors to pretty much all of the things that happened to me since. It's um, now, granted, you can get to that point and never be seen again if you want, because it's really how hard you work from that point forth. And it is a double-edged sword, because for so many people, it's actually a turnoff, just to hear the words, American Idol or any kind of like TV. There's a stigma, and I think it's been broken down a lot from what it used to be. But for a long time, it actually hurt me just as much as it did help me.
Well, yeah, and I've heard a lot of people say that that I've talked to that were involved in that program or The Voice or any of those others, that it's just it can be a curse too, because you're riding high and then all of a sudden it's just like, well, you're forgotten by them. They're moving on to the next season and you're just
Yeah,
out there on
that's
your own.
100% it. Yeah, you got to create your own crowd past that, and I'm thankful that I've done that to a degree. But it's definitely not something that you can count on, like, to have that group of people. And you really don't really want that, because there's a big difference between being a fan of somebody on a TV show doing the best that they can in the moment to and also a big difference in that and actually liking what somebody does musically of their own volition. So there's a span of time that you have to really work to kind of clean up your fans, so to speak. It's like you said, a big giant portion of the people that supported me in the beginning were gone instantaneously, and then you kind of weed out people, not in a mean way. It's just like, that's just going to happen, over time. And then you create your own actual fans based on the music that you play and love. And, it's taken me 14, 13 years, but,
Well, and you were playing on the stage, right? I mean, yeah, I understand you were playing in Dallas, Fort Worth area, all that. You did about 10 years of that kind of grinding there on the barroom stages and all that. And now you're branching out, you're playing other places and playing with people like this character in the bottom of the screen down here, David Parks, who David is out there touring himself. David, you still on tour, buddy, or you back home now?
Ironically, I got home 2 nights ago, and I leave after this interview. I got to go to Nashville and get on a bus. So,
well, you stop by the zoo, you can see Casey and his family today, I guess. If you
they'll be over in the zebra or the lions area, and I'll just come by and throw them some food.
And David, you're
throw
touring
me a couple things, Dave.
The animals or the family?
Both. David, you're still touring with the Bellamy Brothers? Are you still out with the Bellamy Brothers?
Yeah. They're we don't stop working. Those guys keep us on the road, and I'm enjoying it. They treat us wonderful. I love working for them. Good
deal. Yeah, you seem to. Everything you talk about looks like it's a pleasure to be touring with those guys.
It's absolutely wonderful. And, same thing for Casey, which leads me to why we're actually doing this. Casey and I worked for Casey quite a number of years, and our first meeting is quite hilarious. But because I got called to sub and he didn't know. And we were at an airport and he just had headphones on, and I approached him and he just kind of looked at me like, yeah, what he didn't know what I was saying. And I said, hey, I'm your drummer. He's like, oh, are you David? And we have been best friends ever since. And we just stay in contact, and we miss playing with each other. This isn't a money thing for us. This isn't a anything other than a pure love of playing with your brother and playing music and creating music together. And it's just one of my most favorite. It's hard to even call him an artist. He's one of my best friends, and I just love playing music with him. I love the music. I love the group. We had a rehearsal last week, and we fall right back into it like 5 years had never passed. And it's it's literally a labor of love. As cheesy as that is to say, it truly, really is. We love grooving together, and it's just a click. It just really works.
And Karis, I think you'll agree with me that, I mean, I don't know Casey from anything. I mean, this is the first time I've met Casey when he popped up on the screen here to do the show with us. But I will say that David Parks is a great human being, and he's one of those guys that everybody likes to hang out with. And I mean, I've had great conversations with David at the Bell and several other times via phone and such. And David, you're just one of those likable guys. I think that's why you have such success while you're out there touring.
Well, it ain't my drumming or my looks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just, playing with Casey and bringing him to the Bell. I mean, because I feel like that the Bell is a home for me. Like I immediately felt that the first night I walked in there, just the people there, the musicians, it really feels like it's a place that I miss. Even if I'm not playing, I just got to go in there.
We
And
miss you.
yeah, and then to bring Casey into this, it's just a natural feeling. It works.
Casey, you're going to love the Bell, by the way. I'm just going to say it. You're going to think the vibe there is fantastic. But let's get to your history. Let's talk about history of Casey James for a minute. Take me through like a little quick, from start to where you are now.
Well, we kind of did that a little bit, but I mean, I grew up in a musical family, and then started playing guitar a little late, actually, around 13, something like that. Picked it up pretty quick, and honestly, it was never something that I had to work at, meaning like it wasn't I need to go practice type situation. I just loved doing it, so I just did it all the time. And it wasn't too much longer after that I started playing in front of people and recognizing that I could actually make money doing it, which was, I mean, at that point, that was the end of it for me. It's like, well, if I can make money doing something that I enjoy doing, why would I ever do anything else? And so started playing and did, I would say regional stuff for probably 10, 11 years, and then tried out for a TV show that I'd never seen, and that ended up leading me to Nashville and got a record deal with, of all things, a country music label. And I hadn't listened to country at that point in my life in, I would say, 15 years, and I mean like at all. And made a couple records with Sony Music, and then I was able to get out of that situation mutually and agreeably, and everything was great, and made a couple of records that were really right down the center of where I was at the time. I'm really proud of them. I did it independently and ended up having a few guests on the first record, that people that I really looked up to, Bonnie Bishop and Delbert McClinton, and just made a great record that I'm really proud of. And then had some singles off of that go to XM, and I think they still play Bulletproof, which is the duet I do with Delbert. And that kind of leads us to here. Then right after that, I made another record, and then of course the pandemic hit, and that opened up a whole new chapter in my career, because I kind of said, well, that's going to slow things down. So I did a band thing as well, and that's still going currently. It's called Texas Hill, and that's just like a different outlet, a kind of a totally different take on things, and that's been going on. And now I'm kind of diving back into my solo career, trying to focus on that, get myself back out there to a greater degree, because I really kind of took my foot off the gas, and when you do that, it really it can really hurt you. And so I'm trying to get my stuff back out there, which leads me to right where we're at right now.
And coming to Cincinnati this week, and we're going to hit on that really hard here in a minute. But how would people describe, you think, your style that come to see you play? I mean, how would you describe your style?
Well, it depends on how you're seeing me. I mean, if it's me acoustic, it feels like a living room session, and I like it that way. I share a lot. I talk a lot. I try to make people smile, and I feel like I'm probably better at that these days than I've ever been, which makes me happy and really kind of makes it feel, again, like some people are about the show and they want it to be the exact same thing every time, and they want you know everything's got to be like this, and that's fine for certain aspects of the music, but as far as the show goes, I want it to be completely different every single time, so that if you're coming to see me, which a lot of people do on the regular, you're not going to get bored. um, if it's full band, it's a lot higher energy than it is. I do a lot less talking, a lot more playing. It's a lot more, instrumental driven. You're going to hear a lot of different, and my take, and one of the things that I think David has always loved. I'm speaking for you here, Dave. Sorry, about playing with me is that, you know, I don't. People don't work for me; they work with me, and I'm honored and thankful when I get great musicians like Dave, and I try to take advantage of the creativity and in the moment, and just let people actually play music. It's like, look, we know what we need to do, but what we need to do inside of those spaces is really up to you as a musician, and when that happens, it kind of does the same thing that I was just talking about with speaking. It's like, well, when that happens, all of a sudden I'm capable of doing something that I didn't do the day before, because somebody gave me a musical moment to play off of, and really that's what is exciting as a musician. And I think it's exciting if I'm listening. If I go to see somebody that I really love watching play music, if I get that opportunity, I don't want it to be the exact same show that I saw already. I want it to be something different. And so I try to keep it that way in my own show. And I mean, as far as like labeling it, I mean, certainly everything that I do is bluesy. There's a bit of a rock tinge. There's a bit of a soul tinge, nothing super heavy outside of the blues rock, you know, Americana vibe, I would say is probably the best that I could describe myself. That's a tough question.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen a lot of online chatter about you too, is that you're kind of all over, and people like that. They like that you're kind of almost like multi-genre when you're playing and changing it up. And Mr. Parks, what do you think about that? I mean, what would you describe?
I will say that, not meeting Casey and being called as a sub, you're in American Idol, that cloud that hangs over that, as Casey said, can be something wonderful, or it can be something horrible. The horrible part of that is when he come out of that, he got signed to a country deal. As he said, he's not country, hasn't listened to country in years, and I've never seen him as that. And then you just, from my past of working with different artists, you think that, oh, it's just another pretty boy that has a cool guitar. And then I got on stage with him and I was like, oh, you're the real deal. Like this, you actually are great. You don't need tracks. You don't need all the icing and stuff. I mean, and I was like, holy crap, this guy's like really good. And he'll never say that. So I'm going to say that now. And at singing and guitar playing. So he got categorized into a genre that he is not a part of. The politics, the way the business goes down, none of that. He's the real deal. There are no tracks. Everybody feels like you're a part of it. In fact, I was going to bring up a story when we were on the Delbert McClinton cruise. We were like 10 minutes from going out. You remember this? And we were talking about, hey, let's throw in a fun cover here or there. And then right as we're going on, one of us said, hey, what about Same Old Blues Again, Leonard Skinner? And yeah, what's the lead lyric? Oh, we'll figure it out. And then we just went up and played. We changed our opening song, Walking On. Like we were
That's
walking
amazing.
on, whispering to each other the bar chords. and it's a lot of fun that way, because yeah, we're making a plan for next Tuesday night and a set list, but it could go off the rails, and it most likely will, especially with Scotty Bratcher being there.
Yeah,
And it's gonna
Scotty,
be
that's
fun.
That's icing on the cake there as well, because he's a phenomenal entertainer, and you're gonna, if Casey's never met him, he's gonna enjoy seeing every bit of him.
No, I
And
know,
Karis,
Scotty, and I'm excited.
good deal. Well, Karis, tell us what you think about Tuesday night coming up. I mean, this is a special one for you because you normally, when you have nationals in, they're either on a weekend or something. It's a little different for you. What do you think?
I'm really excited. And I was really excited, especially even more so after I spoke to Casey, because he is a nice dude, man. Like, he was a pleasure and just no ego, no fucking, it was wonderful. It was, and I'll trust anything Mr. Park says to me anyway. So it was pretty, I mean, and then I was listening to his music and I was like, okay, this is right up my alley. So I'm very excited for this coming Tuesday.
Yeah, and there's a lot of chatter about it too, so I think it's going to be a pretty good show on Tuesday
I think it's
night.
going to be great. And there's something to be said. I've worked with some national acts that are horrors to work with, so I just kind of just stopped.
So have I.
Yeah, I imagine more so than me. Yeah. So
did you say horror or
horrors?
Okay, I'm just
Both
making
terms
sure.
apply.
But
Doesn't
yeah,
Doesn't even matter.
I will say this. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a Tuesday night and they got to work," but we all got to work in the morning, Vaughn. Life ain't for living just on the weekends. This is the only time that these particular musicians can get together. Is a weeknight because he has Texas Hill and other things. I'm out with the Bellamy's, and we're hoping to do more of these kind of shows, weeknight shows and things, and we might book another one. Hint. And out to my toes. And it's the only time that we can get together and do this. So that's the reason it is a Tuesday night. For anybody wondering, we don't have the luxury of picking a weekend date at the moment.
I almost prefer weekday special events, in my personal opinion, because first of all, it gives people something to look forward to during the week when it's usually just work.
Breaks it up.
It usually makes it for a much more like intimate, real show, in my opinion, just from my experience. So I'm all for it.
Let me say real quick, if you're watching the show, guys, after we're live today, or you're watching right now, if you have a question for Casey or David, throw it in there in the comments. We'll try to get it up on the screen. Casey, you said something that struck me a minute ago, though, about your solo. And Karis, we were just talking about this yesterday, I think, on the show. And you talked about being a musician / storyteller when you do your solo thing. And I love that. I think I'm there when I'm sitting in that living room session. I want to hear the background of that song. I want to know what emotion made you write that, or what happened. Do you find you get a lot of feedback from that when you start chatting it up with people when you're doing solos?
Yeah. The funny thing is that it's a tough. All right, I'm going to talk about something totally opposite just for a second to get back to this. But I've always had a fear that after a lifetime of being in a business that is very self-centered in its nature, it's like, hey, let me talk about me all day, every day, right? And, you just try to watch out for the me monster in your life. But for the longest time, I didn't really do that because of that. I just felt it's just too much. It's like, who cares, man? It's, you guys already know me or whatever. And I think that was, first of all, that was wrong and kind of egotistical because, I don't think everybody that's at the show has any idea. Sometimes it's somebody's very first time to come see me, right? So you learn all these things through the years. And then at some point I recognized, like, actually, I think people are interested by this information. And so when I got comfortable, and honestly, as I've grown older and become more comfortable with who I am, not to say that I'm done growing, but I am a little bit more comfortable with who I am. So I tell these stories, and I tried to let people know, where it came from and what was going on in the moment. And I find that it really kind of helps people to get into the same place as me. Like, what was this song about? What does it mean? And now, can it mean something to you? And when I share those stories and I take the time to just talk about it like I would if I was in my living room with my friends and family, like, they want to know. And so I'm going to tell you, and I hope that it comes out in a fun way that usually makes you feel good and makes you smile. And I think that it just really does change the dynamic of the show, and it goes a very long way to making people feel like you're being personable as opposed to like some, guy standing on the stage talking at people instead of to them, you know?
That's awesome. And you know, I read on an interview that you did, you were quoted saying, "We need to remind humanity what music is about. It's not about money. It's not about fame. At the end of the day, you can remove all that." And I thought that is a profound statement, man. That says it all to what I want in a musician, because you know,
Yeah.
fame is a flash in the pan. You know, and you saw it on American Idol. I mean, you're still grinding, but when that show's over, man, the umbilical cord gets cut, and you just kind of have to go do it yourself.
Yeah.
So,
And that-
you know, what
and that
gives you that
applies
drive?
always.
What gives you the drive to do that, man?
Man, I just you know, not to take a line from away from Dave here, but you know, not to sound cheesy, I really do love playing music. I love it in a way that I serve music. For me, I've met so many people, and they are great. And I'm not talking trash. This isn't a judgment. It's just a simple statement of I meet a lot of people. I play with a lot of people that they don't serve music. Music serves them. They're great and they're talented, but they are using music as a means to an end. And there's not, again, that's just not the way that I do it. I serve music in that I do what the music calls me to do. If that means that I need to not play in a song, then I don't play. If that means that I need to remove myself and my ego, then that's what I do. And I think my take on it is such that I don't require anything from it. It doesn't need to give me anything other than being there and existing and allowing me to be a part of it. And that has been my take since I started playing. You know, I was doing an interview a couple of nights ago, and the guy said something about, you know, every girl digs a guy that plays guitar. And I was like, you know what? When I started playing, I wasn't even into girls. It wasn't even my thing. I didn't even look. That hadn't, you know, started in my mind yet. And so it was never about anything other than literally, I just love it and I enjoy it and I want to do it. And I'm thankful that I can. And that's really where it stops for me. And I'm just trying to serve music and serve people and bring joy and happiness into the world by doing something that's fun and awesome. And, you know, as cheesy as that sounds, it's the truth, and it always will be for me. So whatever that looks like for me professionally, then that's where I'll go and that's where it will lead me.
We were just kind of touching on that yesterday on our show, is like some people have just kind of lost the passion and the drive to just the love of playing music. And it's just turned into, okay, well, we got to go. This is work. We've got to go do this. And you can see it on stage. True music lovers can see that on stage. There is no hiding that. And I think that to me separates a great musician to somebody who plays music. Like there's musicians and then somebody who picks up an instrument and then plays some music. And it's a night and day difference.
Huge difference between a corporate band and a compassionate band that loves what they do. I think there's a massive difference there. And
yeah,
let's talk about this event. I got to get this in because this is what we're here to talk about today. Obviously, Casey's coming to Cincinnati. He's going to be in Montgomery, Ohio on Tuesday night at the Bell and the Bear. And I'm going to scroll the bottom there. It'll give you a little info on that. But doors are at 6. Show starts at 7:30. Scotty Bratcher is the special guest. And that'll be a good one there. $10 at the door, get you in the seat or in a standing room area, wherever. It depends on what time you get there. In the bar,
great music,
and you're gonna have a great time on Tuesday night. And I've got a little. David, go ahead. I've got a poster I want to put up.
Yeah, I do want to say that we have some special guests coming out. I couldn't come to the Bell with this and not include at least a handful of some locals that come up and play on the Thursday night jams. We got Angela Combs coming up to do some background vocals on a tune. We got a good horn section of Sean Fitzpatrick, Don Hudson, and help me with the last name here, guys. Tom Hemperkef.
Heidkamper.
Heidkamper.
Something. Yeah, Hipper.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm going to
sorry,
go
I
ahead
can't
and
pronounce your last name.
Tom's probably not going to be mad if you messed his last name up.
I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name right now. But anyway, they are not only wonderful musicians, and Angela's singer and everything, but they are wonderful, wonderful people. There were so many others that I wanted to include. We just didn't have space for them. But they're coming out on their own free will just to have fun, just to be a part of this circle of what you guys were just talking about. It's not something that we do, it's something that it's who we are as musicians, and we are excited. Got Kevin Patrick on bass, and he's another local, and we're bringing in Brett, who's played with Casey and I before on the road. So it's going to be a great night, great musicians, great
This is
people.
gonna
It's
be
just,
amazing.
yeah, it's going to be a vibe. It's a connection. Like when Casey plays acoustically, as he said, he's not talking at people. It brings the room together, and it's going to be an experience.
I can't wait. I'm
It's
super stoked for this. I just
sounds
got even more
fantastic.
excited.
So y'all want to certainly want to follow Casey online if you can too as well, guys. And you can find him at Casey James on Facebook, Casey James Official, and on the web at CaseyJamesOfficial.com. So if you want to check out his pages and such, there's a lot of good info on his website as well as how to get his music. And Casey, your music's available on all the platforms, right?
It is, yeah. I mean, I need to check. Somebody just told me the other day that my newest record isn't. Oh, it was you, Dave, actually. Yeah, and that's like it's literally like a little button I have to go click every now and then to kind of re-up my stuff. But yeah, everything should be on everything, everywhere, and I'm very active online. So you guys make sure to follow me on all my stuff.
Absolutely.
That's a complete and total lie. I'm the worst on social media.
So many artists are. They'll tell you that. They just, well, and they're, I think it's all right sometimes if you want to be creative and you want to have a mindset of really appealing to people to get away from the socials too, because it can drive your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
really can.
it never has been my thing. I'm an outdoor guy, and I'm a music guy. I'm a family guy. I'm a games guy. I'm just not a stare at a phone or stare at I'm probably one of the only people that I know that never has had a personal Facebook page. I didn't have MySpace. I just don't do it. I don't know. I don't, if I'm not like actually talking to you in my life, I'd rather reserve the time that I would spend wasting it on people that I don't really see. I'd rather spend that time doing something with someone that I actually know and love. But, far be it from me, because I seem to be the only person in the entire world that thinks that way. So I know I'm the weirdo, everybody, and I'll do better.
All right, Karis, what else you have to share today before we have to get out of here?
No, I'm just excited. It's going to be a really good show, and I hope everybody comes out and enjoys it because it sounds like it's going to be even better than I was anticipating. So it's a don't miss show. I'm excited, man. It will be great. The food truck will be open too. So because we always got to ask that. So that's will be good.
Fantastic food, by the way. If you're watching today and you're going, don't eat beforehand, eat there because it's awesome. Hey, real quick, I do have a signature question we always ask of those we interview, and I think, David, I might have hit you with this one before, but I'll hit you again right now. If you could take the stage with anybody past or present as your bucket list play item, who would it be?
Wait, you asking me or Dave?
David. I'm asking David first.
Oh, gosh. I've kind of already done mine with Sammy Hagar and Delbert McClinton with Casey. A number of times, actually, we've toured with Delbert, and he would come out and play Bulletproof with us. And every time he came out, I was just on cloud nine. But if I had to choose one today, oh, gosh. I'm looking around at the passes in my room right now. I'd probably go back and I'd do a whole show with Delbert, an entire show with him, because I've probably got more like Toto. There you go. I'll go Toto. But
I was so confused, Dave. I'm like, why is this taking you so long? What's going on?
Yeah,
I've only got a Toto hoodie right over here. Come on.
That Rolodex in his head, it's bouncing around there. Casey, how about you, man?
Yeah,
what's yours?
Man, so can I split it? Can it be two? Because
sure.
I think currently, and I'm just giving like a current because I actually would love to see this happen someday. Is Tedeschi Trucks Band? I would love to jam just be on stage for a couple of songs. And then if I had my dithers, Doyle Bramhall would be on stage. Doyle Bramhall too, would be on stage with us. And I think that would be kind of a bucket list scenario for me. I think those are some of the most amazing musicians of our age. And personally, forget about, everything's subjective, right? So, and you can go on and on endlessly about talent and yada, yada. But for me personally, the take that they have on music is something that I relate to and get and want to be a part of, whether I'm listening or if I ever get the opportunity to be on stage with those kind of folks. That's what I'm about. And that's what would make me the happiest. So I don't know that I can think about like the endless amount of musicians who have passed away that I would like to be on stage with. But, for active current musicians that are touring, I think I think that'd be the end all be all for me.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Tuesday night, April 16th, Bell and the Bear. You want to be there. Doors at 6:00. Show starts at 7:30. Scotty Bratcher hitting it up with Mr. David Parks drumming, a lot of great players and some special guests. And, of course, headlining that one, Casey James. And, Casey, it's been a pleasure to meet you. And Karis was right when she told me you're awesome, man. You're a great person to talk to. So thank you for being a good human, too, and being one of those guys we can admire in the music business.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that compliment, man. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to end it with this one. You said once, you said you're thankful to have a dedicated audience that believes in you and who you are and what you do. So I hope you gain some more of those on Tuesday at the Bell and the Bear.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
David Parks, thank you much. Always. Thanks for setting this up. We had a really funny little text thing going there. Some of the comments in there going back and forth were good.
Thanks for not airing that.
Yeah, we'll leave that. We'll leave that to the private sector. And Karis, thanks for joining me again today. 2 days in a row.
Oh, you're welcome.
How about that? Guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow live at 5 with Who's Playing Out, the best musicians and venues in the tri-state and who's playing for the week. Join us for that one. It's brought to you by our friends at Froggy's in Monroe, Ohio. Until next time, guys, get out and support live local music and the bands and venues that bring it to you. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.